tonight. We got a very special guest. Drama Relax is in the house.
Big moment.
How you feeling, bro?
Long time coming. I'm feeling good. First I want to say shout out to Audacity and my guys running the shit. By far hottest podcast, hottest radio show, hottest everything right now in Long Island. So
you think you have probably one of the most biggest female appeals when it comes to Long Island rap and just your career in general? Like that's a big target for you, obviously.
Yeah, I think that having a female fan base is definitely important. When I check my statistics, actually, I have like a 51% female.
Female to male.
Female. So yeah, no, I think that's important. I think that word of mouth spreads through the females because it's usually group based with the females. A guy's just gonna be bumping shit like solo. Girls are usually together and shit. So, and also like guys are gonna follow whatever girls are fucking with. So
yeah, that's a fact.
Having a girl fan base is definitely like beneficial for me for sure.
You started taking this shit seriously, I would say, around in high school at some point.
Yeah, so in my high school, I went to Bayshore High School, and there was a recording studio in the high school, and I would go into there. I would cut class and go into the recording studio and watch people like Gabe. Shout out to Classic, Matt Rivera, shout out to him.
Studio Geek.
And I would watch these guys, and I would kind of just be like, I was just so excited by it because it was just like such a cool thing to do. And it was just like, at the time, to me, it felt like a taboo thing. It was like, oh, like this is like almost like a badass type of thing to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like at that age, I was like super rebellious. So I was just like, oh man, like fuck going to class, fuck all this other shit. Like I'm gonna just try to make music. And at that time, I wasn't looking for anybody to accept it. I was more so just like doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it was an outlet for you.
Yeah, it was an outlet for me. And I think that's the most important thing in music is like, and just in anything, like, if you're going to do something, like, before anything else, like, you got to do it for you. You got to do it for yourself. So at that time, I was like, this is something where I can escape,
right?
So in high school, yeah, I was recording a lot. And shout out to Mr. Schaefer, man. I don't know where he's at these days, but he's a big influence for me for sure. And, he taught me how to kind of make beats and how the whole like production side went.
Right, because you were producing a while before you kind of blew up as a rapper.
So before I had a platform for rapping, I was making beats under the name Sammis Beats. And I want to clarify this to anybody that I am Sammis Beats. It's not anybody else.
Right.
It's me. So yeah, I was producing a lot, and I was selling a lot of beats on YouTube. And through that, I caught attention of somebody named Jay Stash and Relax Records. And this was probably about 3 or 4 years into actually recording music.
Right. So this is after high school that you linked with Stash.
Yeah. So, and I also want to do it. I also want to say, I want to talk about my uncle really quick. So I had an uncle who was making beats and everything, and he had an apartment in Massapequa.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the first person that actually put me in a studio type of situation. So, he got me kind of involved in like actually making music, like recording music.
So when you were in the studio with your uncle, he kind of put that seriousness into it. It became more of a thing where now you're like, okay, I'm going to make tracks that are just crazy, that sound good, that have everything included.
Yeah, I started thinking to myself, okay, let me put together like a formatted song. So let me like make a verse and make a chorus and all that.
I don't know what the exact stipulations of that deal was, but you were under Relax Records for a while. That's correct?
Yeah, I was under Relax Records. I was signed to about like a 2 or 3 year deal under Relax Records. It started because Jay Stash made this song called GarageBand,
right, that
I produced. And I was producing like, I might even produce that on GarageBand. And I think that they didn't really want to come to an agreement with paying me for the beat.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, they were like, okay, let's just sign them and get what we can out of them.
GarageBand was a huge break for you, no doubt about it.
The biggest.
Would you say that you wouldn't claim to be a hood guy, right? You wouldn't claim to be from the hood or anything like that?
Not at all.
So when the song Guerillas came out, if for anyone that's seen the video, dudes with guns, drugs, it's a real hood-looking video. And then after you get signed by them, do you think that changed the perception of you at all from like, this white rapper from, Bayshore and then going on with these guys who look like they're just straight out the bando?
I was doing some like I was trying to do my own shit and like kind of be a little, like what's the word that we keep saying?
Versatile?
Edgy.
Oh, edgy, right.
So I'm trying to be edgy, and I think that everybody from Long Island kind of took it as if like I was acting out of my element.
Right, because you got a lot of hate for a long
I definitely
time.
got a lot of hate.
And it was from people that I saw that knew you, too. It wasn't just, I feel like the people that did know you would almost show more love, and the people that you had connections with were hating on it for a while.
Yeah, and you got to also keep in mind, like, once you're being on a local scale and being on an actual platform where people who don't know you, like, so you cross a line when people start listening to music that don't know you.
Right.
So when people that are listening to music that don't personally know you, that's when there's going to be an accurate opinion formed, because people that know me are going to base me off of
right. They already have these preconceived notions about who you are as a person and whatnot.
So the Jay Stash thing that's not going to change those people's minds.
Right.
And the bigger platform, that's how I was introduced. So prior to that, that's not even known.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I was doing before that, whoever I was, however I was acting, Instagram wasn't even a thing then. So I got introduced to whoever I got introduced to, a SoundCloud platform. This is a white kid who is hanging out with Jay Stash, who is definitely on a gangster level. He's from Fort Lauderdale. I was going down to Miami and doing shit. Shout out to Fonz walking in. And I was doing shit, and I was around like some sketchy shit for sure. But I don't think that any of that changed me. Or I don't even think it changed anybody's perception on me.
Right. No,
but it was just what I was around.
But at that point, you really started gaining a lot more traction, I think, from songs like Way Up back in the day. You had a lot of clout on Twitter at that point where people were really just flocking towards that sound.
Yeah, I mean, I made a song called Bracken.
Bracken, yeah, that was the other one.
Yeah, and yeah, I definitely got hated on, but the fact of the matter is that my intentions of making that music, and like what I said earlier, is like I was doing it for myself, what I wanted to listen to. So the message that I wasn't focused on a message at that point.
Right.
I was just like, let me just make whatever I'm feeling and put it out. And I had Stash behind me to repost it. And that's where the platform came from. My whole platform solely came from Jay Stash reposting my music on SoundCloud.
I want to get into your next big break, because there was a time then in between the Relax Records period and the new deal that you just signed. So how did that all come about? Like, for those who don't know, Drummer Relax is signed to Interscope, and that's basically making it once you get to that level. How do you think you were able to propel yourself to get a deal, get into the interviews with these big guys, and put yourself in a position to win?
So this is what I tell everybody, because I talk to a lot of the rap guys out here, and I'm cool. I'm friends with a lot of rap guys, and when I talk to them, they approach me kind of like on like not like looking for advice from me, but how I look at it is like when I see these guys, because I'm watching and I see what people do, and a lot of these rap guys, I've known them for a long time. Like people that I've known Raz for a long time. I've known Nolan for a long time. A lot of these guys, I've known for like maybe 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And everything is based off of connections and networking and forming relationships with people that are gonna help you propel to a certain level. So, work ethic is important, obviously, and talent's important, but you got to be willing to put yourself in positions that you're going to meet somebody, you're going to link up with somebody, and you're going to be in the room where somebody's going to be like, okay, I want to see this kid win. I want to help this kid win. And it's not based off of anything other than the fact that somebody is going to help you in, excel.
Right.
So for me, I was offered a Universal publishing deal about 3 or 4 years ago. And at that meeting, I met my lawyer, Adam Zia. Shout out to Adam Zia. And, he is the one who eventually introduced me to Joey Mander, who signed me from Interscope.
So did you turn down deals before the Interscope?
Yeah, I turned down that Universal deal. That was really it. That was really the only thing that like mattered.
Now, what do you think about these guys that, because a lot of the guys we have on are not signed. They don't have that type of platform or, recognition from these big labels. And what I asked them is like, how much would you sign for? The common answer is $1 million. Now, do you think that's just an outlandish answer? Like, you think that that's realistic for anybody on Long Island to be asking for $1 million to sign?
So what I think is that I think a lot of people have a lot to say about being independent and being a signed artist, and I think a lot of people that come on here talking shit about they rather be independent. That's because they're not getting offered anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want,
so that's just cap.
If you want to talk about deals and all this other shit, like most likely people are not being offered deals, because when there's a deal being offered, money should not be the only thing that's a concern.
Right.
Because you could get $1 million, you get $10 million, but then now you got no ownership at all.
Mm-hmm.
You have no creative direction. It's not your control. So anybody that comes on here or on any medium and says, "Hey, listen, like, I'll sign for $1 million," that's just a small little piece of a deal.
Right.
A deal's a whole fucking thing. You got to consider merchandise. You got to consider touring. Like, how much you getting off this? You want to get $1 million up front? Listen, you could go through $1 million real quick. Money's going quick.
Do you think life changed for you after that Interscope deal, though?
No, I don't think it did. I think that the only thing that changed for me after having a deal is like just I don't have to go to work now. Like, making music is my job.
Right.
So
that's got to be the dream. That's what you were working for all along.
Yeah, it is. But it doesn't mean that you make it. Being signed doesn't mean that you make it or anything like that. Like, you still have like so much to do and so much work to do. It's almost like starting over.
Right. So do you feel like that any type of complacency then set in? Because it's like, all right, I've done all this. I've got the viral videos. I've put myself out there, and now I'm signed. So how is it then that you can propel yourself again to the next level?
Yeah, well, that's again. I mean, it's networking. It's so much more than making music. It's more than like a lot of people, I think, don't really understand that once you're involved on an industry level, that it's a business,
mm-hmm.
and you have to be a businessman. And if you're not the businessman, then somebody around you has to be the businessman. And it's a business, and you have to move like with a business mindset, and you have to be able to know how to act in multiple different situations. So in order to keep climbing up, you got to be able to catch whatever the wave is. You got to be able to figure out what the time is and fit into that, and also bring in a personality for yourself. Like, the number one thing I'll always say is it's so much more than making music. It's just
right.
It's a vision.
Now, people like Uzi have said that being signed and the label has hindered him so much in his ability to put out music or kind of move how he wants to move. And now, obviously, every label's different, but do you feel like that applies to you at all, or do you feel like the label is totally supportive and you can kind of move in the same fashion?
So in my situation, the label definitely has a direction for me. And it's not far off of what I came up doing and what I want to do. But like I said, like that's part of being signed. You gotta understand that now you are in the hands of somebody else, and you have a boss.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a business, and you need to sell.
Right. And I think people that have been fans of you have always seen like the more trappy, edgy rap type songs, and then the more pop melodic type of thing. But a big criticism as of lately is that we haven't got the former. It's that it's been more just straight, radio type hits that people.
I'm gonna address this. So I'm gonna address two things for whoever is listening to this, and I know it's not like a lot of people, like, as far as like saying these things about me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm hearing that I've had a couple people say to me that I got signed and left Long Island and all this nonsense. So number one, I'm fucking sitting right here.
Yeah.
So where the fuck
You're on
did I go?
Audacity TV.
Where did I go? And I have a lot of love for Long Island. I have a lot of love for Bayshore. I made it a super priority, and you could ask, whoever to get hometown love. Like that's number one always. And I think that if in order to be the man globally, you got to be the man where you're from. Like that's number one. So everybody that's saying that I left Long Island or whoever's saying this, even if it's like 2 or 3 people, like that's all a bunch of bullshit. Like I rep home always, and like I'm always coming back home.
So you're not too Hollywood for Long
I'm
Island.
not Hollywood at all. Anybody that says I am Hollywood is most likely because they want to do some sort of work with me, and I'm not doing it.
Well, you do be in LA a lot though.
I'm in LA, but listen, I'm on business trips. It is what it is.
Right, you're working. I understand that. So your goal is ultimately to put on and
also I want to say,
sure.
I've been taking flights way before I got signed. I see a lot of rap guys they don't take no flights. I've been going to Miami. I've been going to LA for 4 or 5 years.
What's the flex thing? I feel like you get mad about the rappers talking about them taking flights places. Is that something that bothers you when you see these lower tier guys talking about their flying?
Taking a flight because you want to go to LA and hang out is not fucking. That's nothing, man. Like if you're going to LA to do something, that's a different story. You're going to LA to hang out and fucking go to a dispensary. Like that's not there's no flexing going on there. Like when I was taking flights, I was going out to LA because I had a manager at the time by the name of Jordan, and I was staying with him when I went out to LA, and I was doing like little shows, like little like parties and shit like that. But I was going out there for work, and like going out to LA to record, which is what people go out to LA for. A lot of these guys. I mean, I understand that you're trying to portray it as a flex, but it's not a flex because you could just go to Polo Hay's studio and record. Like you don't need to go to LA to record. I mean, the only difference is you could go to a dispensary. So, everybody's talking about.
So it's flights. The weed is really what's attractive to these guys.
Everybody wants to go out and smoke some weed.
In LA though, you definitely have a good work ethic. You're in the studio like that. You really don't seem to be the guy to always be in the clubs and stuff like that. Why is that? Is that just not your vibe? Like you think that's not what you're about necessarily? I'm not saying that you never go to the clubs. It just doesn't seem to be a recurring theme for you.
Well, number one, I've had some good club nights. First of all, the club is expensive.
Right.
Okay, so if you're actually going to the club, when I go to the club, I don't pay to go into the club.
Right.
So, and I'm not like saying that as like,
That's a humble flex. It's a humble flex.
When I go, if I'm going to the club, it's because I'm invited.
Right.
And that's not like it's like all the time. Like it's like once in a blue moon I get invited to go to the club. And like I'll take that opportunity. But I'll buy a table.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy bottles. And this is a couple $1,000s when you want to go to the club. So you want to do the club right, it's a couple $1,000s. I'm not fucking standing in the crowd.
Right.
I'm standing on the goddamn couch, man.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to the club, I need to be on a couch. And I need to have champagne bottle service. And if that's not the circumstance, then I'm not going to go to the club because it's too much money.
Right.
And it's a waste of my money. And I have no interest in strip clubs. Unless
Why don't you like the strip clubs?
I mean, if I was getting paid, I'll go to the strip clubs.
Right.
I find that I would feel uncomfortable throwing money.
Right. You think it's disrespectful?
I just feel like I would feel uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
Because I have, I'm in my head a lot, and I just don't know how comfortable I would be doing that.
Right.
Well, and I've never really been to it. I went to a strip club one time in Miami, like very quickly.
King of Diamonds? Where'd you go?
Not King of Diamonds. It probably was
Hole in the Wall strip club.
It probably was the worst strip club I could go to.
Why was it bad? Like, what was your experience like when you went there?
I went there with somebody named Papa Bear, who is on Relax Records.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And there was just wings everywhere. And I'm just so not down to eat wings and be in a club environment ever.
Yeah.
So, and that's like the thing, a lot of people go to the strip club for the food. That's like a major thing. Like,
really?
When I talk to a lot of people, they're like, yeah, man, like the thing to do is to go to the strip club and eat
wings and titties.
And yeah, and eat.
Right.
So, I'm not trying to eat when I'm at the club ever.
Another big issue I want to touch on is rapper antics, because we know that almost plays just as big as a part as the music does. So like, how do you see yourself as a figure online, or how do you see yourself in comparison to these other guys that are putting themselves out there and saying crazy shit on the gram? Really seems to have never been your style to do that.
Yeah, no, it's not my style. I'm 24 years old, so I think I'm a little old on the side of like, that whole thing,
Right.
that whole Instagram thing.
Right. There'd be 30-year-olds wilding out on the gram. Man. I
Yeah,
don't think
no.
that's selective just for the youth.
I strongly just believe in like making good music, and that's my thing, and like that's what I focus on. I'm not trying to wild out on Instagram. Lately, I've been like trying to do the Trillis thing, and like
Yeah.
it's a little uncomfortable for me because I don't want to come off as like being like super narcissistic about myself and like, oh, look at me. I'm not trying to do that, and like I'm not like trying to dance in front of the camera or like freestyle in front of the camera.
Yeah, you don't do freestyles, right?
Like at this point, like again, like it's a business. I get paid to make music. That's what happens. If I'm not getting paid, I'm not fucking rapping in front of the camera. I'm not putting out a little freestyle on Instagram or none of that. Like when I'm making music, I'm making music and to get paid, and like that's my priority.
Do you think any of the local guys are touching the actual quality of your music?
Hitting the shit from the wrong side. Yeah, definitely. I think that my quality is so I record myself. I record on GarageBand.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's like you're still just on the same shit.
I record on GarageBand. I record myself. Unless I go to the studio. And by the way, I prefer recording myself, and I prefer being on GarageBand and being in that because that's what I came up with. I'm not like used to a studio environment.
Right. Yeah. So let's get into that because you are somebody that seems to just like to have your own little space to record at the crib or wherever you're at in LA. Why is it that you don't like the studio life? Because that's a whole culture in itself.
Yeah. Well,
is it a distraction? Too many people around?
What I've learned from being in the studio is like it's a networking thing. Like you want a big producer. You want like a big artist to walk in the studio. Like they're not gonna pull up on your house. They're gonna pull up on the studio. Mm-hmm. So like you want to make something happen like that and make moves. Like when I was in LA, the first time I went to LA, like Black Boy JB just walked into the studio. He's an Interscope artist, and like he came in the studio and was chilling for a second. Like a situation like that's not gonna happen recording in my room. The second time around, Rich the Kid, the Baby was in the studio, and these guys are not coming into the studio like trying to fuck with me. They're just at the same studio I'm at,
right?
And like that situation is not gonna happen. The Baby's Interscope, and so is Rich the Kid. So shout out Interscope, the hottest label out right now.
How do you feel around those guys? Does that ever make you uncomfortable when you see these guys that are just like super on the radio 24/7 and shit, and you're just kind of around them doing same shit ultimately?
No, because I feel like that's where I belong. I feel like I wanna, I have to feel like I belong around these guys, because at the end of the day, we're in the same business. We're somebody once said to me that is always gonna stick to me, like, because I play a lot of basketball, and when I'm at the YMCA, for example, playing basketball,
yeah,
I'm playing with the same intensity that LeBron James is playing with.
You think so?
Listen, I'm going just as hard as LeBron James going. My skill level is not there, but I want to win just as bad.
Do you feel like you get a lot of hate from people?
No.
You don't feel like that? From rappers or fans? Or you ever read the comments on the video? Anything negative that like pisses you off?
Yeah, no, I don't feel like I get too much hate. I also don't think I'm on that much of a big scale to get hate.
I mean, dude, your last song, Sprung, I think, what is that, 800K on YouTube right now?
Yep, and I'm going to keep it 100. The label has a lot to do with it. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, that's all like my fans going and watching that video. It's all playlisting, and that's how shit works. But, I don't see too much hate only because I'm not big enough to get hate. People that are listening to me are fans of me.
Right.
That's who's listening to me. It's not, they're not people. Random people. Not too many random people are stumbling upon me.
Do you ever feel like you're not good anywhere?
I'm good everywhere. And the thing is that, to be good where you're from is one thing, which I am. And for anybody to say that I'm not good where I'm at is just ridiculous. Simply because I have done nothing but try to incorporate as many people where I'm from to be a part of me, and to I've done hometown shows, and I'm very involved in my hometown. I've coached a basketball league for a lot of younger kids.
Right.
Like I'm totally involved, and like
You want to be involved in the community.
yeah, like so for somebody, who am I not good with? I might not be good with people that have a problem with what I'm doing, but to the people that matter, and to the people that are doing positive things, I'm accepted by those people. And that's what is important to me.
So by the Long Island rap community, you feel like you're generally respected.
Of course. And I don't want to say respected as if I'm like a big dog, but I get love, yeah, for sure. And I show love. I'm never out here acting out of character, and I think everybody would attest to that. So
Can people do songs with you now that you're on the label? Like if one of these guys want to do a song with you, how does that happen?
yeah, a lot of people definitely have been looking to do some songs. And first of all, before I got signed, I worked with like pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
I have to have like at least 100 features. Like I was really like making.
Sorry, so one thing I forgot to mention is you had the song with Lil Skies that went crazy.
Yeah, I had a song with Lil Skies about 3 years ago. He contacted me for that song. I handled that the wrong way, because at the time, I was like, oh, this is just another guy, But yeah, he actually paid me for that feature too,
Yeah.
So yeah, I was doing features, like that's how I was getting by. Yeah, I was charging for features, and like I know a lot of these guys feature prices, and it's like, people, I think people's biggest problems is like, you got to understand reality and your head. Like in your head you might be something, but in reality.
But listen, I feel like you're coming at this from a very humble perspective. You're like, I'm not this big superstar. I'm not this. I'm not that. You do have recognition on Long Island, though. A lot of people know who you are. And that's why I'm asking, if like you were to go to a certain place and someone saw you, obviously you got the designer on, you drip down. Like, do you ever feel like someone could run up on you, or you could be in a situation where there would be some sort of,
Absolutely.
physicality?
Absolutely not.
You have the right people around you to prevent that?
Nobody's ever going to do that. Nobody's gonna do that, because if it happens, it's out of hate. I carry myself appropriately, I think. I do walk around with people that you're gonna have to get through a couple people before you get to me.
Right.
And listen, like that's not ever gonna be the situation. Nobody has any type of intentions to do that to me. And
do you think a lot of these guys are lost? Like they don't have that sense of reality?
a lot of people are definitely too much in their head. A lot of people are definitely not that same guy when they're not on Instagram. But for the most part, listen, everybody that I talk to is a nice guy. Everybody shows me a lot of love, and I'm not looking for any type of problem, and I don't think anybody's looking for a problem with me.
Now, I'll be remiss if I didn't bring this up, because you actually mentioned the basketball thing before, and I wanted to know, there was some talk about a potential game going on between you and Passport. Is that something in the works? Is that something that's going to happen?
That's going to go down. Passport is too short for me.
He's getting washed?
I don't know if I'm going to, listen, I'm not going to say I'm going to beat him or he's going to beat me. But I'm definitely
competitive.
I'm definitely not gonna get killed. Me and him had a good FaceTime conversation, and listen, Passport's my guy. Shout out to Passport, shout out to K Hus too. That's another one of my guys, man. Like these guys are like showing me so much love, and just nothing but positive energy from these guys. But yeah, we're gonna definitely play. Me and Passport are gonna play, and we're gonna see what happens. I know that Passport has his whole little posse trying to root against me. But I'm definitely up for it.
You think you're the underdog in that situation?
Well, it depends who you ask.
No, I know you got a shot, man. You got that jumper, that half court Steph Curry shot.
I know Passport doesn't smoke or I don't even know if he drinks or anything, so he might beat me on a stamina. But
and that's another thing. I mean, I know you're drinking now, but in general, you kind of shy away from a lot of like the drugs and all that. Is that just because you want to present a clean image to the fans and the demographics you're targeting, or have you just never been?
No, that has nothing to do with it. I definitely just am not into doing drugs or anything like that. And I don't smoke weed because I have too much anxiety. Used to smoke a lot of weed when I was younger, but I have too much anxiety. And when I do smoke, like, I feel like I need to go to the hospital.
Why is that? Like, well, it just freaks you out in your head. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause-
weed hits everybody differently, but
I don't know. I start tripping out, and like, I have this thing where I start thinking like about like the world and everything, and like how the universe was created and stuff like that.
so you just go way too
and
deep.
I just start tripping out.
Maybe you
and
should just do some shrooms, man, and see where that takes you.
I think about it a lot, like doing shrooms, and like I think if I did shrooms,
Yeah.
I'm waking up in the ER. And if I take a hit of weed these days,
Yeah.
I'm out. My everything got ruined for me when I did a weed brownie.
Yeah, because when you ingest it, it hits you a lot differently. It's almost like a psychedelic.
Yeah, I took like a whole weed brownie, and I was just like throwing up.
Oh yeah,
And,
man, that shit sucks.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people can bounce back because I hear that like whiting or whatever the term is. You know that term?
Whiting?
When you white out or something like that.
Oh yeah. Okay,
You know, it's like when you get,
comparable to blackout, but in a different sense. Okay, I
it's
got
like
you.
from weed. Like I hear that people that happens and like they throw up or whatever, and like the next day they're probably smoking or whatever. Like for me, every single thing traumatizes me. So like the littlest thing will traumatize me, and I'm just scarred for life, and like I won't go back.
So if it's not the drugs or whatever, because I know a lot of rappers will use that to get in the zone. What is it for you? Like, what gets you in the right mindset to record a track?
I would say what gets my head right is knowing that it's my job, and if I want to live a life that I want to live, I need to sell, and I need to get the job done, and that's how I look at it. I look at it as a job. And that's it.
Right.
I don't look at it as anything other than I have to take care of what I need to take care of. I have to pay my bills. I have to pay, a lot of things these days. So in order to keep going with that, I need to deliver. So that's my motivation. Like,
so you treat it like you're putting on a suit, going into work. This is what I'm doing, and
that's it. That's what it is right now. And before, it was definitely more of a hobby. It was definitely leaned more towards a hobby. But now, it's definitely like it's a job, and that's how I have to treat it. And I gotta treat it like I'm waking up to go to work every day.
Did that mindset change after the label sign? Is that what did it?
Yeah, once money's involved, everything changes. Once you start talking money, then there's a whole different story.
Before the label, I feel like you were coming out with tapes almost bi-monthly. Like they were just flowing in. I feel like people want to hear more of that. So can we expect more music coming from you now, or like what is your deal? Is it?
Yeah, I definitely want to go back to dropping music on SoundCloud. The thing when you sign to a label is they control your distribution, so I can't just be doing whatever I want.
Doesn't that bug you though?
It does. It definitely does. It losing control is a frustrating thing. But listen, it is what it is. I'm definitely planning on putting more shit out on SoundCloud and stuff like that, for the fans. And I definitely want to be organic and genuine with it. So I want to put out the right stuff. But yeah, I consider myself a versatile artist, and you got to know when to put certain type of music out, and what's gonna do the best overall. So yeah, I could put out some songs that are gonna touch this fan base and this fan base and all that. But like overall, it's like I want to put out music that's gonna get everybody going. So yeah, I could drop whatever I want for free. I could do that. So.
Where do you see yourself in like 5 years from now?
In 5 years, I see myself on like a Sway Lee level. Like I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna be like a Drake, unless I'm like get super blessed. But I definitely 5 years from right now, man. Like I gotta have like a couple plaques on the wall. Like because if not, and I'm not even saying this like to try to say, that's how good I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it like if that's not the case, then I failed a lot of people because people investing into me, and I'm put in a position to where this is where I'm expected to be.
Mm-hmm.
So like my expectation is, I need to have plaques on the wall in 5 years. In 1 year, I need to have a plaque on the wall.
Right.
So yeah, 5 years, man. I'm talking a lot of shit to a lot of people.
You at the Grammys in 5
Oh
years.
man, I'm driving in Bayshore, fucking in a Ferrari, flipping off a lot of people.
If there's one Long Island artist you could work with right now, or that would best suit you, who do you think that would be?
My favorite Long Island artist of all time is this guy named Dre Rhinell. Other than that, I don't know.
What do you think about Lil Tecca's come up?
Lil Tecca, man, fucking. If he's, because I know like it's a whole debate if he's from Long Island or Queens or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song Ransom is crazy, man, for sure.
So you have respect for him.
Yeah, I have respect for him. I have respect for everybody. But, you know, you want to be on a boss level, then, you know, that's who I want to work with, somebody that's on a boss level, not somebody that's trying to come up. Because guess what? I came up and I worked just like everybody else worked. And when you get to a certain point, I think that you got to put yourself at that point. And, you know, fuck you. I don't care what anybody, you know, really wants to. I did what I had to do, just like anybody else would have to do it. And, you know, sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know, I made it happen for myself. Just like, you know, I wasn't given anything special or any handouts. You know, I fucking sat in my room. A lot of these guys go to the studios every fucking day. I never even went to a studio. I got signed off of GarageBand.
Yeah.
I have songs with Tory Lanez and other people. Like you said, Jeremiah, which is not, you know, that's not a known thing, but I have something coming with Jeremiah. You know, I have a song with Tory Lanez that I recorded myself in GarageBand in my room. So, like, fuck going to the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's whatever works for you best is what you got to do, because I see the quality of your music, and I just think that it does surpass the typical Long Island guys I see. But besides the point, nobody you feel like has disrespected you or anything like that.
Nope.
And you don't have a problem with anybody.
Nobody disrespected me. From what I understand, everybody shows me love, and like I said, I'm cool with pretty much everybody. I mean, there's definitely a lot of goofies, but I mean, come on, like, I know what it is, and people want to be living in a fantasy world, and that's where they're gonna stay. You want to talk about real shit, and you know, people want to everybody that comes on here claiming that they're the hottest in Long Island.
Right.
That is, you know, you really got to ask these people what that's based off of, because I know a lot of people sometimes are like, oh, I opened up for so-and-so.
They opened up for so-and-so,
Yeah.
or they're the hype man, or they. What is your view on just being a white rapper in general and the perception of that?
I don't think that I'm a white rapper. I'm definitely a white artist.
Okay, yeah, sorry. That's offensive sometimes to say rapper.
I would definitely not say that I'm a rapper.
I mean, you're listed as R&B and soul.
I'm listed in, yeah, I'm categorized as R&B and soul. So, like, anybody that, I'm not a white rapper. That's the end of the story. Done. I'm R&B and soul. Interscope has labeled me that, so that's what the fuck I am. Being a white rapper, that's great. But, you know, you got to be able to understand, like I said, reality. So if you want to come on here talking, like, again, like, people want to come on here talking that they're the hottest in Long Island, well, what are you basing that off? Are you basing that off of your thought?
Yeah, it's all subjective to them.
You know, because it's like, you know, at the end of the day, man, like, it's really down to, like, are you getting paid?
Mm-hmm.
You might get a couple $100s off of features, great. You know, but that's like, can you support a living off of that? No. So, you know, to be the hottest in Long Island, nobody could say that. Nobody has any right to say that, I don't think. You know, and I'm not going to claim that I am. I don't think anybody has put Long Island on the map. You know, if Lil Tecca is from Long Island and he comes out and like really reps Long Island, then he definitely could do that.
You're right. He really hasn't repped Long Island to the fullest extent or anything like that. But that song is just super hot right now.
No, and you know, again, it really comes down to you know, where's your position in the music game? And if it's you're in your room making Trillers and you're getting a whole bunch of views, great. But, you know, are you gonna be able to support yourself in 5 years off of that? No, right. I don't think so. So, like, you know, to be the hottest in Long Island, nobody can claim that. And I think, you know, everybody that says that they are is just, you know, they're just not. They don't have people saying, "Hey, listen,
cap.
man,
it's cap."
It's just not. You gotta wake up.
Where did the drama thing come from? Was that because you're mixy in the drama with the females, or like where did that name stem from?
You know, I think it fits me. I'm definitely involved in drama situations. when I was younger, and to this day, I make poor decisions, and unfortunately, when you get to a certain level, decisions that you make are gonna affect you, and I definitely experienced that. And I've lived, and you gotta live with the decisions you make. Um, so I mean, like another thing about a lot of the rap guys is like, you gotta realize how your moves are gonna play out for you, in life, and a lot of people wanna take certain steps and do crazy shit, not really thinking about tomorrow. I think an advantage I've always had in my life is I'm worried about tomorrow. I'm worried about a year, 5 years down the road. I think that's what you gotta be always thinking about. You can't always just be living in the present, because you might make a decision that it's not gonna help down the line. And I've definitely have done that multiple times.
But you live and you learn from that, right? Because if you didn't make those decisions or whatever, you
hope to learn, man. You hope to learn.
You hope to learn.
That's all you could do is learn.
Well, I mean, I think we covered a lot. Do you have any other messages that you want the people to know about you or who you are on a more personal level?
My message would be to just be yourself. Don't be all extra because you feel like that's what's required. It's not. Be genuine, and just do you. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the music is what's gonna get anybody anywhere for a long-term thing. Like a little like clout chase and move, that's gonna get you hyped for a couple days. Here today, gone tomorrow type of thing.
Right.
So at the end of the day, the music's gonna talk. Even you don't have to have a lot of numbers or a lot of followers to have good music. So I don't have a lot of followers. I don't have a lot, my numbers are not crazy. I don't have anything special. I just got into the right places because I feel like I make good music, and it
Definitely.
caught the right ears, and that's all you got to do, man. Just like.
So when can people expect the next Drama Relax song to come out?
So
approximately.
So I'm thinking about dropping a little SoundCloud EP at some point. I was gonna do it next week, but I don't know. I don't know when this is gonna air, but it's definitely soon. I definitely have some big things in the work. Like you said, I got a song coming with Jeremiah. That's a banger. I got a couple other things in the works. I'm definitely trying to work with Tori again. I'm probably gonna go down to Miami soon.
Are you guys gonna shoot a video for that song? I feel like that song needs a video.
We're not gonna shoot a video, but I have a personal relationship with Tori to a certain extent. I hung out with him down in Miami.
He's a cool guy.
He's a good guy, and he showed me a lot of love. And this was like a year before I got signed.
What's going on with his jump shot though, man? You might need to give him some.
He's definitely somebody I gotta play. I think I might beat him.
Yeah, that would be a great celebrity game.
Yeah. He. There's a studio called I don't know what the studio is called, but there's a studio in LA that has a basketball court inside the studio, and that's where he plays a lot of rappers. So, it's definitely a goal of mine to play Tory Lanez and anybody that is in the rap game that plays basketball. So,
you want to let's take a look at the jump shot real quick. We got the Instagram up right now. Drama Relax. Kemba playing in the background for those who want to know. And it's wet.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people.
Steph Curry range.
I saw a lot of people had something to say about my form.
Bro, it's whatever works for you.
Listen, I'm not a fucking basketball player.
I mean,
I'm not like shooting in the gym, but I'm gonna hit the shot.
Yeah, I've seen you, bro. You play a 5-on-5 and you shoot from half court and make it half the time. I'm gonna hit the shot.
My fucking my highest percentage shot is half court. So, Passport General, I'm fucking gonna be dropping threes.
Coming for your neck, Passport. Bro. He's coming for your neck. But no, all fun, man. I definitely appreciate you coming up, man. I feel like this has been dope.
It's an honor for me again, man. Shout out to Audacity TV. By far, nobody's close. The hottest shit out, and everybody that has anything else to say, against that, fuck you.
Much respect, man. Drama Relax, new music coming soon, man. Follow him on all platforms at Drama Relax. That's correct.
Yes, sir. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with me, and a lot coming. So stay tuned.